It may be today, Madison Square Garden had the hottest show in town.
This is Wrestlemania. This is the thing of today. Hulkamania is running wild.
The long-awaited and highly hyped wrestling match pitted TV's Mr. T and Hulk Hogan against Rowdy Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful. It was a card that sent 20,000 Garden fans and closed-circuit TV viewers in 200 theaters around the country.
I love you, Mr. T. Go get him!
It was also a good show, and like any good show, opening acts preceded the main event. Girls may just want to have fun, but they can punch, push, and pull with the best of them. Cyndi Lauper knows she manages Wendy Richter, one in turquoise. But this is just not brute strength and brutality. If you want culture, there's culture. Liberace and the Rockettes, no extra charge. Finally, the main event, where no one less than the former heavyweight boxing champion, Muhammad Ali, served as honorary referee, the tag team championship of the world. There was everything. There was one-on-one wrestling, two-on-two wrestling, even Ali wrestling. But mostly, there was chaos. Somewhere in that mess was a pin. And good news, the good guys won. Oh, by the way, that's T and Hulk. Bob Rikowitz, ABC News, New York.
That looks like a lot of fun.
Nice.
$1,000.
I'd want to get to any of that.
Well, Beverly Jones
won this afternoon with a 30-6 win over the LA Express.
Mr. T teamed with Hulk Hogan in a tag team match, and it was billed as the single greatest sports entertainment presentation. More from NBC.
Mr. T in a tag team grudge match? They called it Wrestlemania, with Muhammad Ali as referee, Billy Martin as announcer, and Liberace as timekeeper. The biggest event in pro wrestling since Gorgeous George.
One day, we hope to be recognized as the premier source of sports entertainment in the world today.
McMahon's matches get some of the highest ratings on national cable, and he draws huge audiences playing Johnny Carson to his stars. Lauper put veteran wrestler Lou Albano in her videos, then began a rock and wrestling melodrama that's led to a whole new audience for the sport. Attendance jumped 32% last year. Half the fans now are between 18 and 34. And with TV revenues, wrestling is a $250 million a year business.
It allows the viewer to give vent to their emotions. Like with my mother, for instance. My mother was a very genteel lady. But when she watched wrestling, she let off some steam.
And the old question, is it real or fake, has been replaced by new ones.
There are questions about the lack of medical insurance for the wrestlers, about the lack of pensions or a union, and about the blacklisting of wrestlers who complain. Questions that didn't seem to matter so much before the big hype began and the big money started rolling in.
There's talk of new regulation and the hope that becoming trendy may force pro wrestling to become respectable. Dennis Moore, NBC News, New York.
Well, love it or hate it, boy, it certainly is.
It's all part of nation.
Steph, Jim Gott reported.
We are going to, if the telephone calls we received this evening are any indication, yes, wrestling has quite a following here in the Bay Area. Critics will sneer that it's nothing more than theater with grunts and headlocks, but whatever your opinion, you can't deny that professional wrestling is hot, red hot these days. Hulk Hogan and Mr. T in a tag team grudge match. They called it Wrestlemania, with Muhammad Ali as referee, Billy Martin as announcer, and yes, Liberace as timekeeper. The biggest event in pro wrestling since Gorgeous George. With curly hair and cologne, George in the 50s brought wrestling big audiences and an image it's tried hard to live down. Enter Vince McMahon, wrestling's P.T. Barnum, and the girl just want to have fun lady, Cyndi Lauper.
One day, we hope to be recognized as the premier source of sports entertainment in the world today.
McMahon's matches get some of the highest ratings on national cable television, and he draws huge audiences playing Johnny Carson to his stars. Lauper put veteran wrestler Lou Albano in her videos, then began a rock and wrestling melodrama that led to a whole new audience with the sport. Attendance jumped 32% last year. Half the fans now are between 18 and 34 years of age, and with TV revenues, wrestling is a $250 million a year business.
It allows the viewer to give vent to their emotions. Like with my mother, for instance, my mother was a very genteel lady. But when she watched wrestling, she let off some steam.
Okay, and for the gang at the Daly City Fire Department, station number 5, who called in and said, we missed the match, take care of us. We give you a glimpse of today's Mr. T, Hulk Hogan versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff match. Madison Square Garden sold out. Over 6,000 fans watch on closed circuit at the San Francisco Civic Auditorium. Ali, your referee, and if you're keeping score, Hogan and Mr. T proved victorious, the Hulk delivering the deciding pin. And again, we talked about this on our earlier newscast. A lot of critics, and they'll say, oh, why do you show that on a sportscast? You're supposed to be serious. But think about it. That's what people want to see. What the heck? A little fun isn't going to hurt anything. And a little break from 2-1, the Giants over the A's, and 36-30, all the scores we keep running. A little wrestling once in a while. What's it hurt? Coming up on Sports Final, the Week in Review, which includes a couple of mayors, Miss Feinstein.
After weeks of breathless anticipation, Wrestlemania infected Madison Square Garden and 200 closed-circuit TV outlets around the country yesterday. With preliminary bouts including a victory for Wendy Richter and her manager, Cyndi Lauper, the crowd was at a fever pitch for the main event. With help from Muhammad Ali as guest referee, Billy Martin as announcer, and Liberace as timekeeper, world champion Hulk Hogan and rookie Mr. T took to the ring to face rowdy Roddy Piper and Paul Mr. Wonderful Orndorff. Mr. T got the hang of it, and in no time, the good guys managed a stunning and popular victory. Is it any wonder that ringside tickets went for a mere $100?
Amazing. Tootsie's Orchid Lounge, the legendary Nashville saloon